Aaliyah, and I am your CSI agent, aka the first responder. On entering the room, I found 2 dead bodies, one closest to the door I entered and one closest to the door in the back of the room. One closest to the back of the room had excessive bleeding and was lying in a pool of blood along with blood pieces behind the head. The victim was facing up and they had excessive bleeding in the eyes and around the mouth. The second victim closest to the door I entered had been shot. You could clearly tell because of the burn marks behind the ear and the angle at which the blood was on the wall, along with brain pieces. I also found a bullet casing in the room. With these findings, I had my team use a grid technique, and inside the grid techniques, we use a spiral technique. I chose these techniques because there was a lot happening at the crime scene, and I wanted my team's examinations to be thorough. Using these techniques, my team found that one had been shot, as I previously stated before, and the other had been strangled and hit in the back of the head. My team also found a necklace wrapped with a bracelet, with a lanyard in the cabinet. My team also found a bloody hammer under the kitchen sink and a message from the door we entered from labeled, "Thanks, Dad." We found this message using a black light, which means that the victim used blood to write this on the door. At the crime scene, my team also found strands of hair. And my team will use all the evidence we found to identify and bring our suspect to justice.
What's your name? Age? 18. Occupation? So, Afua, do you experience any breaking points or times where you snap or get angry?
Hopefully, I'm the type of person really get angry like that.
Oh no, not really, never?
Yeah.
And when you're experiencing traumatic events or anything happening in your life, you never have a point where you get upset, or has there been a recent time where anyone has made you upset?
I think that this can be a great opportunity to begin and do more research on understanding what it's like to have mental
Are you sure?
affect your day.
And then with the bracelets again, why do you have 2? And if you have one and your boyfriend has one, why doesn't your boyfriend have his bracelet?
Just he get this by himself. This is.
Why do you have his? Why doesn't he have his own? Did you not give it to him yet? Or
No.
yeah.
Well, to be honest, I haven't seen much of him lately.
How come? When was the last time you saw him?
The day before Monday, Sunday.
The day before Monday? Yeah. Okay. And what happened the day before Monday and Sunday? What were you guys doing?
Just hanging out, talking.
Hanging out, talking?
Yeah.
Did you see
Why are you
anyone
fidgeting
else?
so much?
I'm just being interrogated isn't really.
Do you have any mental health issues or mental disease that you may know about?
I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder.
Okay. So when you were with your boyfriend, were you with anyone else?
Well, we're with my dad, right?
Yeah. And what was going on? What was happening? Why were you with your father when you were with your boyfriend?
My father, nothing's going on with my father.
Why isn't anything going on with your father? Why was he there?
Because
Is talking about your father make you anxious?
no, everything's fine.
Then what was going on with you and your father and your boyfriend? Why were you all 3 together when it was supposed to be you 2 hanging out? And why do you now have his bracelet on?
I just have it
Because? Why do you have his bracelet for?
because
Why doesn't he have his bracelet for?
he doesn't have his braces because okay, I admit that is my father and my boyfriend.
That's your father and your boyfriend? And why did you kill why is your father there and why is your boyfriend?
Because me and my boyfriend, we plan to kill my father. My father, my whole life he's abused me.
He's abused you?
Yeah.
And your boyfriend helped you kill him
Yeah.
to get him out of your life? So why is your boyfriend dead? Did you shoot your boyfriend?
Maybe I did.
Hi, my name is Kendall Lee, and I'm the forensic scientist on this case. In this murder, there were 2 victims. We found evidence of bruising around the first victim's neck, and we concluded that they were strangled to death. They would have had to have been strangled for 4 to 5 minutes for it to have been fatal, as evidence from the bleeding around the victim's eyes and mouth. The victim also had a hammer wound on the back of his head, and the bloody hammer was found stashed in a nearby closet. On the second victim, we found evidence of a gunshot wound on the back of his head and burn marks from that gun on the back of the hoodie. We found blood splattered all over the walls, and the position of the blood indicated that the victim was shot while facing the door, and the victim would have had to have been relatively close to the door, judging by how far the blood splatter got up onto the walls. The victim was also wearing a bracelet that matched a bracelet that we found stashed in another closet. There were 2 sets of footprints at this crime scene. One of them belonged to the second victim, and the second set of footprints led out of the door, and those belonged to the killer. The last important piece of evidence we found at this scene was writing on the door in blood that said, "Thanks, Dad." When testing hair samples we found at this crime scene, we concluded that Afua was the killer. We tested both Russell's hair and Tracy's hair to see if they were a match, but only Afua's hair matched the straight hair sample that we collected at the scene. Thank you.
My name is Keontae Higginbottom, the forensics architect of this crime scene. The suspect and her boyfriend then proceeds to enter the room where her father was cleaning. The suspect boyfriend hits the father in the back of the head with a hammer. As the father was falling from the hit, the suspect then proceeds to choke the father from behind for approximately 3 minutes, which causes the death by strangulation. The suspect boyfriend then proceeds to reason with her after about the murder, which was an unfortunate last-minute decision. This causes the suspect to act frantic as she goes back and forth with her boyfriend, which then leads to him being shot in the back of the head. As we interrogated the suspect, it appeared that she would consistently shake her leg or rub her 2 hands together, which could be a sign of anxiety. The suspect then proceeds to throw the hammer into the cabinet inside the crime scene. Afterwards, she would then write the following words, "Things down" to the door of the entrance, and lastly, she would take a bracelet from her deceased boyfriend's wrist.
What do you mean that's enough? No. You keep working.
What about the police?
What do you mean? No.
What if we get caught?
We
What
just
if they
act like
find
it's
it?
missing.
What if they find it?
No.
Is being strangled, pressure could be implied, which may cause damage to the windpipe or the blood vessels. This pressure could also lead to damage being done in the brain due to lack of oxygen. A bullet through the main blood vessels in the brain could cause rapidly expanding blood clot in the brain. Lastly, this could critically compress the important brain tissue, which could cause immediate death at the crime scene.
I'm Stepter, and I'm the forensic psychologist for this case. I have concluded that our suspect Afua is on the spectrum. She has displayed psychopathic and sociopathic tendencies, such as and not limited to lack of empathy for others, lying and manipulating for personal gain, displays of aggression and violence, and one of the biggest giveaways was she left a clue, which is the blood message on the wall. Now, a sociopath is created from the environment. A psychopath is basically born that way. So I have decided to label Afua as a sociopath because she was not born a killer. The abuse suffered from her father has led her to commit the crime she has committed. During the interrogation, Afua has also made it known to us that she suffers from bipolar disorder, which she also displayed during the interrogation. Because when we first began to question her, she came out very sweet, very lighthearted, and would answer the questions and no problems asked. But as we began to kind of break her a little bit and getting closer to the confession, she began to seem more agitated, irritated. She'll start fidgeting and things of that nature. And then when we actually broke her and she gave us a confession, she seemed like it was a major personality switch. She seemed almost nonchalant, like she did when she was talking about how she murdered her father and her significant other.
Hi, My name is Ellis Davis, and I'm the prosecuting attorney on this crime. We are prosecuting Afua based on the primary evidence that she left behind, which were strands of hair that were laying on her father's forehead after she murdered both her dad and boyfriend. Her hasty removal of evidence from the crime scene while committing it gives my team no reason to believe that she was not aware of the harm she was committing. She was abused throughout her whole life and had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder. We kept this in mind when determining our sentence for Afua. We are charging Afua with 2 counts of first-degree murder. The murder of her father was premeditated. Even though she killed her boyfriend during the crime and it was not premeditated, my prosecuting team does not believe that his overwhelming reaction to her brutal murder was a valid enough reason for the crime to be considered a heat of passion incident. The crime committed against her boyfriend was not reaction from tragedy, and rather was committed vaguely on shallow principles. Afua will serve 63 years, and due to the mitigating factors described above, the last 7 years will be served in a mental institution for aid with mental illness. Parole can be served upon completion of the time in the psychiatric facility. Although Afua did suffer from mental illness and endured history of abuse, her acts were heinous and extremely punishable, and we believe she is guilty in the murder of her father and boyfriend.